Let's say hello to Lionheart Anthony Smith, who joins us right now. Anthony, how are you?
I'm good, Ariel. How are you?
Oh, it is a pleasure. And you did say at the end of last week's interview, I'll talk to you on Monday before you disappear for a few months. So I appreciate you being a man of your word, and I'm happy that you're back home. And I think I see that you're joined by some company over there. So it's great to see that you're with your family as well. If I can ask right off the top, how is your hand feeling?
It's not good. It's swollen like a softball. And actually, my fiance and my kids are taking me to my doctor's appointment right now, and we're gonna go see how bad it is.
Okay. Are you in a lot of pain?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's probably the worst broken hand I've ever had. So, I mean, I guess we'll see when we get there and see what the X-rays look like.
And how many broken hands have you had?
This would be like my 6th or 7th.
Wow. All in the same hand?
No, I think 2 on this hand before, but not in the same place. And then I've had several surgeries on my right hand.
Okay. And do you have any idea when exactly you broke it?
Yeah, I think I said initially that it happened in the first round, but once I watched it back, it was actually the second round. It was a big kind of step through overhand left, and it must have hit him right on the top of the forehead. I know that Paul Felder actually said something in the commentary that he was hoping that I didn't hurt my hand, but I suppose I did.
Wow. And when you actually connected, could you tell right away that it was broken?
Yeah, I knew right away. As soon as I landed the punch, I could feel I felt the pop, and then I went to open and close my hand again, and I could feel it clicking and the bones moving around.
I was kind of sort of like, easing into this because I wanted you to say like, hey, you a-hole, next time, shut up. Don't doubt me. Don't question me. Don't question my heart. This is your opportunity to do that. Now we may have lost Anthony. Maybe we can reconnect with him. Yeah, let's try to call back Anthony because I know he's en route to the hospital, and I appreciate him doing this. This will probably be the last time that we talk to him for quite some time because he says that he wants to take a break. So you just heard he said that he broke his hand in the second round, not the first round. But this fight went 4 rounds, and you could tell early on that maybe he wasn't exactly feeling, like it looked like he needed a couple of minutes just to get going. But then towards the end of the fight, he really put it all together. And I thought he had an amazing quote about that in the press release that the UFC put out. They usually put out these quotes about, the moments after a fight, they put out these quotes. And Anthony said essentially that, at first he was overthinking, he was overanalyzing, and then he just said, to hell with it all, I'm just going to fight. And then boom, he fights, and you see what happens. He ends up submitting Alexander Gustafsson, and you could hear quite literally a pin drop in that arena, the Ericsson Globe on Saturday, because everyone, I wasn't there, but it reminded me a lot of the vibe that we heard when Alex got knocked out by Rumble Johnson. Let's see if he is back. Anthony, are you there?
Yeah, sorry about that, Ariel. We're driving through some bad areas, apparently.
No problem at all. Again, I appreciate you doing this. So I was saying I wanted to give you the opportunity to shove it in my face for questioning whether or not this was the right decision. If you'd like to do that, I'm game.
No, that's all right, man. I told you before that I could tell that your worry was from a genuine, and it was from a good place. It wasn't saying that I wasn't prepared or that I wasn't good enough. I think you just honestly, it felt like you were just worried that I was jumping back in too soon.
Yes.
Which I'll never get mad that someone's worried about me more as a person, not necessarily saying I'm not good enough. You know what I mean? So I'm good with it, man. I was never offended.
Now that the fight is over, because I understand like when you're approaching the fight and preparing for the fight, it's a different mindset. But now that the fight is actually over, could you tell us, were you doubting yourself? Did you feel a little different considering how you felt after that Jones fight?
No, not at all. I felt really, really good. Training camp went well. I had some bumps and bruises that I had to deal with kind of through the training camp, but it wasn't anything that I'm not used to dealing with. I kind of have some chronic injuries that I've kind of put off to the side, and I haven't let myself have any time to get those things taken care of. But, maybe this broken hand is a blessing in disguise. No matter what I want or what the UFC wants or whatever, I don't have a choice. I have to take a break and get this fixed. So I might as well get the other stuff fixed as well.
It did seem, as I was saying when we were trying to reconnect with you, that at the beginning of the fight, it took you some time to get going. And there was a moment even when you were looking over to your corner, and I think the broadcast crew was wondering what was going on. Do you remember that sequence, and why were you doing that?
I've never done that before. I think I was just tuned in to what they were saying. And I don't, for people that have never been in that arena, it is insanely loud. And I mean, honestly, part of it's because there's 18,000 people there, but it's really, really tall, and it's just so loud in there. So I could catch what Mark was saying, but I couldn't quite catch the end of it. So I would just look over, and sometimes it's a little easier to understand what he's saying if you could maybe try to read his lips. I don't know. I've never done that before. Probably not the smartest thing to do now looking back at it.
Well, it's interesting because I remember you telling me that you didn't have a game plan. You were just going in there to fight, and then I saw you looking at your corner. So I wasn't sure if you were trying to tell them something, or maybe you did actually have a game plan, and what you told me on Monday wasn't 100% accurate.
No, there was no solid game plan, but I'm still going to listen to the advice and the instruction of my coaches. That's never going to change. So most of those instructions that they give during the fight, they're kind of on the fly adjustments. So if I'm doing something that to me seems like it's working or something that I could score with, and he wants to make an adjustment to it, then he's absolutely going to do that. And I think that the fight went perfect. It wasn't the prettiest thing in the world, but for me, that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted to go in and I wanted to feel him out and kind of problem solve on the fly. And that's kind of why I started a little bit slow, and I had to work out of, whatever BS I was dealing with from the John thing. I kind of started it similar, where I was watching too much and I was being, defensively sound, but I really wasn't letting it go. But some of that's Alex too. You can feel in there that he's setting traps. So you, on top of trying to figure out what he's doing and defending it, you got to try to figure out the puzzle that he's got in front of you as well.
The broken hand is the left, correct?
Yeah.
How much did that affect after you broke it in the second round, third and fourth? Obviously, you win in the fourth, but how much did you have to actually change your attack because of it?
A little bit. I still threw it, just so that he didn't know that it was injured. I didn't want him to think that he could just wade in with only having one weapon up top to deal with. So, I actually landed a couple really nice body shots with it afterwards that were extremely, extremely painful. But I wasn't able to land the check hooks like I wanted to and really get my jab going. So I just had to kind of feint it. But, I wish I could make an excuse and say that it changed the whole game, but it really didn't. I just kept throwing it.
Just curious, did you tell your corner that you broke your hand in between rounds?
I told Mark Montoya right away, and he said, "All right, well, I guess we're throwing elbows." I said, "Nah, I'll just keep throwing it." And he just kind of looked at me like, "Oh, all right, whatever."
Have you ever experienced, 18,000 is pretty unique, but it was so quiet in there when he tapped. It was amazing. It was like no one was actually in the arena. Have you ever experienced like a fun, it's just, it must be a weird feeling. You're ecstatic, you're over the moon, and the whole place just becomes dead silent.
Yeah, I didn't really feel that ecstatic feeling afterwards. Obviously I was really, really happy and really relieved that it all worked out and that I was able to do it. But honestly, I kind of felt bad for him. That's why I rolled him over, and I wanted to have a few words with him before the commission and the doctors and all those other people came in. I could hear, like, the silence was just insane, going from how loud it was to the entire place. Like, it was insane. And the silence is sadness, and that sucks. It sucks for him. It sucks for his family and his team. But I got stuff to do, and my family's got to eat, and I got a goal I got to accomplish. So I got to put that stuff behind me, but it doesn't mean that I'm not human.
Did you feel like his announcement took away from your victory?
No, not really. If he was going to do it and that's what he wanted to do, I don't think that he could have picked a better place than in front of his hometown and his country and and essentially his arena. I don't know where else he would have done it, and so I don't hold that against him. I think it definitely it took away from it a little bit, but there's nothing that I'm bitter about or that I'm upset about. That's just how the game goes. It's kind of similar to how Anthony Johnson retired, after his fight with Cormier. I think that when it's time, it's time. And if that's how you feel, then just do it.
I noticed because I was watching everything after the fact, and so you go from like the in-cage interview to backstage to the ESPN Plus post show to the press conference, and it seemed almost by the time you got to the press conference, you were like, wait a second, like losing to me shouldn't mean that you're done. Losing to me shouldn't be that you're like some sort of gatekeeper / journeyman. And so it was interesting to see the way your mind was working throughout that car wash, so to speak. And by the end, at least to me, it felt like you're like, wait, hold up. Like this shouldn't be something that you're embarrassed about, that you feel the need to walk away from the sport. Is that kind of how you felt at the end? Like how the narrative was changing? Like Gustafsson can't hang with Anthony Smith. It's time to go.
Yeah. That's exactly how it happened. At the beginning, I was kind of sad for him because I feel like he still got a lot to give. And I still think that he still has a lot of fight left in him. I don't feel like he lost a step at all. And then so as I was doing the interviews, I was kind of saying that and hoping that he sticks around and rethinks it. And then, like you said, by the end of it, it was like, wait a second, like, are you guys saying he's retiring because I suck so bad that he can't beat me? Because that's how it feels. And I just don't think that that's the case. And I don't know when I'm going to get any respect, at this point. Like before, I never cared, but it's getting a little bit frustrating, like all the guys that I'm beating are old washed up guys. And then the Vulcan thing was a fluke. And then, then I proved everyone right that, I sucked and I didn't beat John Jones. And then, what's the excuse now? I mean, Gus, his mind wasn't in it. His heart wasn't in it. He didn't try hard enough. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I got to do to beat someone and then finally just say, maybe he's just good.
So even after this one, you still feel like you're not getting that respect as one of the best light heavyweights in the world?
I don't know. I haven't really been paying attention too much to I guess you can kind of get the read on that stuff like from social media and how the media members talk about you and how the articles are written. And I haven't really dug that deep into there. I'm just happy to be home. So, I don't know, but the way that I felt after the fight, that's kind of the vibe I was getting.
Is the John Jones fight finally out of your system? Like that embarrassment, that feeling you were talking about last Tuesday on the program, do you feel like it's finally gone now?
No, not completely. I think that I got some of it out for sure. I feel a lot better. I slept okay last night, so that's good. I think that that's always going to be there a little bit, but I think that I proved something to myself. I said that on your show that I wanted to put in a performance that I could be proud of, and I'm really proud of that one. And I think that how Alex said that the John fight was because of the injury and all that stuff. I don't know if that's 100% true, but you're never going to know until you get back in there, So I was saying that I don't know what happened. I couldn't pull the trigger and I'm better than that. But, to be able to go in there and then have a better performance and kind of prove to myself, like, all right, like what you're saying is correct. Like what you feel is right, that you are better than that and you just didn't show it. So I do feel better. But there's a lot of things I didn't do and that I got to get better at. But I don't think I'll ever be happy. I think that until I win the world title, I think I'm always going to kind of feel like that.
How do you think you would have felt if it didn't go your way? Considering how you felt going into the fight because of John, like if you had now lost 2 in a row, how do you think you would have reacted to that?
Well, I think it would have depended on the performance.
Okay.
I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't focused on the win. So had the fight gone the way that it went and I didn't finish him in the 4th, and the 5th round looked similar to the 1st and the 2nd. I mean, in my mind, I think I was up 2-1 going into the 4th, but you never know what the Swedish judges, in his hometown how they're going to do it. And if I would have lost the decision, I'm pretty happy with the performance. There's obviously lots of things that I did wrong and I could have done better, but I was pulling the trigger. I was pushing the pace. I was in his face the whole time. I was doing what I could do, and I'm happy with that.
Did you talk to Alex at all after the fight?
I tried. I don't want to be the guy that's that beats someone and gets in their face and wants to talk to them and be buddy. Like, I understand that although we don't have any issues, I'm probably the last person he wants to talk to. So immediately after the fight, I rolled him over and I just said really quickly that you're one of the best light heavyweights on the goddamn planet. Keep your head up and don't ever forget that.
Yeah.
And then, I just went off and did my thing. And then in the back in the medical tent, I went in and I gave him a hug and I just gave respect to his team. I wasn't able to talk to his coaches in the octagon, and I didn't want them to think that I was just blowing them off. And I just asked him, I just told him I wish he would rethink the retirement thing, and that he's got a lot more to give. And I just left him be after that.
So now, since that loss to Thiago Santos, you're 4-1 with wins over some of the greatest of all time. It's truly an amazing story, and how active you've been, truly amazing in its own right. 5 fights in a very short amount of time, and 32-14. I saw that they were joking with you afterwards that you kind of did your career backwards a little bit, where now after all these fights, it's all starting to come together. Did you honestly, like, this has to at this point exceed your wildest dreams, right? Like, you're going into enemy territory, 18,000 people, and shutting everyone up and submitting one of the greatest light heavyweights. This is incredible stuff. How do you wrap your head around all of this?
I don't think I do. I think that's part of the problem. I just take it one at a time, and this one is definitely one that I'm really, really proud of, just because everybody knows how good Gus is, and he's in his prime, and he's still as good as he's ever been. So that one means a lot to me, because I've always looked at him as a legend of the 205-pound division, and he's kind of the measuring stick to everything else. So, getting a win over him really solidifies to myself that, like, someday they're going to talk about me as one of the legends of the 205-pound division. And although legacy is not the most important thing to me, it means something. So it's just been a wild ride, all those nights of just laying in bed, stressing and not knowing what was going to happen. And, if I was going to make it, and if I was, how long was it going to take, and what else I had to sacrifice, and how much more did my family have to struggle for my dream. It just now it's nice to lay down in bed and just be comfortable a little bit, like I'm happy with where I'm at in life. Especially this morning, and I don't know. I'm just really proud. I've kept every promise that I've ever made to my family, and that really means a lot to me. That, like, when I told Michaela that, just hold on, like I'll make it work. I'm really proud of the fact that she always stuck by my side, and my family always supported me, and my friends always believed in me. When most people wouldn't. If you look back and you rewind my career a little bit and think of the things that I was saying then, they sound goddamn crazy. And then you fast forward to where we are, like, how many people would have stuck around for that, or how many people would have believed? I'm just really grateful and feeling really, really good right now, but I don't want to feel too good and enjoy it too much, because, like, we still got a ways to go, like there's likely another fight that I'll probably have to fight to get back to John. So, I gotta get healed up and mentally reset and spend some time with my family. But after that, we have to get back to work.
And I love the fact that Luke Rockhold's name didn't really come up on Saturday. There's another time for that. But safe to say, when you do heal up, when you come back maybe early next year, that's the guy that you want first?
I mean, I depends on if he wins.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in a good spot right now. I'm kind of at the top of the division with no one else but John Jones in front of me. So as much as I would love to beat him up, I'm not going to sacrifice taking steps backwards to fight a guy coming off a loss. I'll tell you that. So as much trash as he talked, it's his turn to show up. And then I think that Jan is in a winnable fight. I don't think that's an easy fight. So, I'll just leave that to let him shake it out and see if he's going to earn himself an opportunity.
That's right. Anthony Smith is in the driver's seat. For once, you call the shots. It's about damn time. It's about damn time,
Ariel.
Yes. Well done, my man. I know you have a doctor's appointment to get to, so we'll let you go. Thanks so much for doing this, Anthony. You're not going to hear from me for at least 6 months, okay? Watch me break that promise in like 2 months when you're booked for another fight. But for now, I'm going to leave you alone. Enjoy your time off. And by the way, congrats on the upcoming wedding. I didn't realize that you actually weren't married yet. So it's amazing. Everything is backwards, and I love it. It's a beautiful thing. So congrats. Enjoy the time off.
Thanks a lot, Ariel. Yeah, don't call me. You can text, though.
Okay, fair. Deal. Good luck with the hand. Keep us posted.